This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the CEO of Fission 3.0, Mr. Dev Randhawa. Dev, how are you? It's been a bit. It's great to have you back on.
Well, it's great to have you, and you pronounce my name properly every time, so that's always encouraging.
Mine always gets butchered, so I try to do the best. Listen, we talked a bit off air, and then I actually stopped the conversation because I wanted to get it on the record. We were having a dialogue about how we've waited for so many years for the uranium spot price to get in a clear uptrend. And I firmly believe that we're in the very early stages of that right now. We're just starting to see the uranium spot price really cooperate the way we all knew that it would. The opposite has happened with the related equities. We had that surge higher, that initial rush in. We had the excitement, and then it seems like we're in a two steps forward, one step back kind of a trend right now. And I thought that presented a pretty compelling opportunity, especially with the recent pullback across the sector. I wanted to get your take first on the uranium sector, and then second, let's talk Fission 3.0 and why it's an opportunity.
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me on. Yeah, it is fascinating. I don't think I've seen such a dramatic change in the uranium market. I've been kicking around this industry since 1996, when the first meeting I had, with Rick Rule, and trying to understand how the world of uranium worked. And so I've been watching this for a long time. I've never seen such a vicious turn on the upside as we did last middle of August, when this commodity spiked up so significantly. And it spiked up because Peter Groskopf saw all this money out there. People were trying to find ways, the big fund managers were trying to find ways to take advantage of the fact that nuclear was now seeing a very positive response. In fact, the first time in history, the Democrats were pro-nuclear. And even yesterday, I think Biden administration has put $6 billion aside to help the nuclear industry. So between that and other governments realizing if they're going to reach any of their lofty goals of zero emissions or less, nuclear power has to be part of it. And sure enough, it has. So the last 6-7 months, we've seen a dramatic, for the first time in my career, is that we're seeing, wow, we're not going to reach those goals without nuclear. Because the problem with wind and sun, which I've often said, is the intermittent availability of it. We as humans can't control the sun or the wind, and so we can't always have it on. And if it is going, and when it's not on, there's no batteries. A lot of places, a lot of these solar panels and stuff literally have only 4 or 5 minutes of storage facility. So if they're not using it, it's gone. So there's a lot of problems with it. So finally, we saw this positive push for nuclear powers like green energy, and then through that, you saw I remember the first time talking to Mr. Groskopf, 300 million comes in, 1.3. So that drove. He went out and bought 40 million pounds, so it took the price up. So every stock went up crazy. We went from 10, 11 cents all the way to almost 30. And that commodity was only 45, 50. Now we got the opposite. You've got commodity over 60, and the stocks are almost like it's never happened. I mean, we're seeing some. We're up 50%, but before we were up, 200%. So it's weird that the stock prices are lagging the commodity. The commodity is still going ahead. There's nothing but every day, whether it's Britain's getting closer to getting an SMR going, the Chinese are, the small reactors. So it's really odd that we're in this time frame. Yet the companies are well funded. We have 13 million in the bank for Fission Uranium. We did a bunch of drilling. We had some good news on PLN. And I can't talk about Traction yet, our joint venture with them. So companies are funded, but these stock prices, whether it's profit taking, although I think some of the macro markets are certainly a big problem with the war going on while the invasion is not. It's a one-way war. And so it's just frustrating, I think, for a lot of shareholders. And we're getting calls going, why isn't, people calling us, why is your stock down, the commodity's up? And I think Hayward put out a good piece on that. And same thing, there's a disconnect. So I think there's too much concern about inflation, the Russian invasion, to overall and sentiment is not positive like it was before. So, but the opportunity, but nuclear, I think what CEO said, we're in the second inning of this whole uranium with long ways to go. When you look at the demand for energy, just electricity alone, where is it going to come from? And with people really pushing for clean energy, the future for uranium is very, very strong. So like everybody, we're frustrated, just got to be patient. And it's a great opportunity. Like Rick Rule always said, if you love your stocks, the ones you're in, and they go down in value, you buy more. So, it's a huge buying opportunity for people who watched that massive run up and said, okay, I'm going to stay out of that storm. I'll wait till things settle down. Now they have. And the stocks are up 50% from their original lows, but they're way off their highs. So this is a great opportunity for a lot of investors to who took some profits or have never been in the space, because I can sit there for the next hour and tell you how positive the future is for nuclear power. And I encourage everybody to see what happened in Germany. They're the poster child of silliness, where Merkel goes to power and tells everybody, you know what, we're going to go, we're going to connect all the, we're going to spend $1 trillion. We're going to connect all our nodes so we can have wind and solar. Well, and they're going to build 3,900 kilometers of circuits, 3,900 for $1 trillion. Well, they spent about 850 billion, and they built 39 kilometers. They built 1% of what they were going to build. And sure enough, now coal from Russia. So her promise to bring emissions down, didn't go down. They went up 20. Their pollution's up 25% in Germany because they're using coal, right? Because to stay in power, as you know, over there, it's representational power, to win 5, 7, 8% from the extreme left. They want nuclear power gone. But look, the reality is that you and I would never, sell a car till we've got another one, right? Well, Germany did the opposite. They jumped into renewables without doing their homework, and now the country's suffering. The taxpayers wasted $1 trillion, and they got higher pollution than ever. So that's a poster child of why nuclear power has a tremendous future going ahead.
You mentioned Rick Rule. He's got that great line, you're either a contrarian or a victim, right? I absolutely love buying on pullbacks. I love buying early. I love getting ahead of mega trends where I know the trend is my friend. A lot of cliches there, but tell me why Fission 3.0 is a great contrarian play right now for someone that's looking to either add or initiate exposure to that violent upside that the uranium equities always produce when we have a clear bull market like we have right now.
Well, first of all uranium stocks are going to go up. If we see another rush in the stocks, you will see every uranium stock go up a little bit. Obviously, some will go higher than others. But the advantage of being an exploration stock is that if someone hits a hole, the stock will double and triple. You can't do that. Like no matter what, Next Gen or Fission Uranium does, their stock will never double and triple. They'll go up. So there's a duality to an exploration uranium stock. It'll go up anyways because it's in uranium, right? More money will flow to it. But the other one is it can. And there's a great chart on our website that shows that. So every stock will go up. I'm with you. But the other thing is, in real estate is location, location, location. In our business is management, management, management. Exploration is very, very difficult, and it's rare to make a discovery. Really is. I mean, you got how many, 200 or 300 companies out there, and how many of those guys have made it? Well, our team led by Ray Ashley and our board, Ross McElroy, you're talking about guys who have made 2 very significant discoveries. We were there together, you and me, when we made the discovery of Waterbury next to Hathor.
Yeah.
And, we were able to sell that. And we put $100,000 in, they put in 15 million, the Koreans, and after that we're 50-50. But we sold that for 128 million to Lucas Lundin and Denison. And then we went over the other side and we made another discovery. And those are two different discoveries, by the way. The Waterbury discovery in the J zone, as we called it, it was what they call the unconformity model, which is a traditional model, Cigar Lake and MacArthur, where you've got a sandstone on top of hard rock, where they touch it, called the unconformity. So they call it the unconformity model. That's a different kind of, versus what we found out here. We found something with no sandstone on it. It was strictly hard rock, and you were there too. So, it's not easy to find somebody who has done it twice, let alone once. So you bet on people who can raise money, can make a discovery, and sell it. Those are the three key pieces in the life of an exploration company. Be able to raise money, make a discovery, and be able to do business-like deals with joint ventures and stuff like that. So that's why I think Fission 3 at 15, 16 cents, it's a steal. I put in money at 22 cents, and I bought more stock. So, I haven't sold a single share in all the years I've owned it. I think I'm the largest shareholder, and I'll continue to support it because, it's hard for retail investors. They need guys more like you to help them filter through the fear and the greed, right? And that's where guys like, Nick and you guys are good at giving people perspective. But these are great opportunities in a lot of these uranium stocks. But I think Fission 3, it should be part of your portfolio. I'm sure you want maybe a chemical and a development stock, but you want an exploration stock in there to give you that big bump when it happens. And if you're going to do it, you got to do it with a management team that's done it before at least once. And we're lucky to have done it twice.
You have the experience. You're cashed up. Tell me about drilling. What comes next?
Well, we had finished the winter, as way up north. When you are, it's on a lake, you drill in the winter because it's cheaper. You can use a tractor, drag your drills around versus choppers in the summer on the lake. So we try to do our land drilling in the summers, and then we do in the winter. So seasonality. So for risk sakes, you don't drill when it starts to melt, and that's what it started to melt up there. So we're going to demobilize our rigs, and think about the summer. You can, in the summer, you drill typically July and August. You prep through June because the roads, there's that time in there where the lake starts to melt. So you've got to wait for all to melt. And also you need the roads to stop becoming so muddy, right? And called breakup. We call it in the logging industry. So that's what that needs to happen. So this summer, we're going to drill PLN, which is our future project. It's closest to the Arrow deposit, the Triple R project. And this winter, we found a very cool corridor. All uranium in the basins, it always comes up through graphitic conductors, but not all conductors have, high grade uranium. So we found the conductor, we have some lower activity. So we think we're getting close. So we're going to drill that this summer. And then also we're going to go after Lazy Edward out there, and we'll do a lot more work. Like I said, we're well funded, $13 million. And so we're in good shape financially to continue through it. And I believe that if we get any kind of smells, we'll get more money coming in. So that's our plans, is to keep drilling. Like, we're spending almost $12.5 million this year in the ground. That's a lot of money. And so we were given a lot of money. So we're drilling it all.
$12.5 million worth of potential lottery tickets and shots on goal, right? That's what we do this for.
So, yeah, exactly. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And so, Michael Jordan says, I've always missed all those. So we got about 9.8 million of our money, and then our joint venture partners putting up 2.5. And they're good people. Lester and gang have done a super job raising money in Traction Uranium, and they're our partners. And we're looking forward to drilling Lazy Edward this summer with them.
Dev, it's great catching up. Let's do it again soon. Thank you so much for your time. It's always appreciated.
Thank you for having me.